All right, the FBI raiding ex-Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton's home on Friday. Sources telling Newsmax the raid is part of a national security investigation into the handling of classified documents. For more, we are joined by former prosecutor and constitutional law attorney Ameer Benno and former prosecutor and visiting faculty member at Harvard Law School, Vinoo Varghese. And of course, we have our special guests who are still here in studio with us, the Borellis. Pleasure to have you here as well. Now, Ameer, starting with you, what are the FBI looking for here?
Well, good morning. It looks like the FBI is looking for information on Bolton's sending information, classified information, to his family members, his wife and his daughter, from a private server dates back to 2019 or so. And this is nothing new. There was, in fact, this is one of the reasons why Donald Trump had yanked Bolton's security clearance. There had been a legal fight when Bolton was preparing to publish his book, a memoir, The Room Where It Happened, which went through a lot of legal fighting. And ultimately, a court determined and told Bolton, we're not going to stop you from publishing the book, but you do so at your own legal peril. And then after the 2020 election, Biden took over and his Justice Department decided not to pursue this investigation. Well, we're still within the statute of limitations, and Donald Trump said, we're going to pursue this investigation.
Yeah, shifting gears a little bit, we do know that a New York appeals court has tossed out that $500 million civil fraud penalty case against President Trump. Now, the panel of 5 judges ruled that the fine from Tish James's case was, quote, excessive. Here's the president taking a victory lap, as you might suspect.
And we're having a lot of victories. I had a victory today. You know, they stole $550 million from me with a fake case, and it was overturned. They said this was a fake case. It's a terrible thing, but that's a nice victory, you know. I mean, it's not bad. You know, we all have our limits, but this was a terrible thing that done. It was a witch hunt, and I've had more witch hunts than any human being, I think, in history. And here we are, we're the president of the United States, so it didn't work out too well for them.
So, Vinoo, a whole lot of people probably agree with the president that this was a witch hunt in many regards. This, lawfare that we saw, is the tide finally changing? Is that precedent of lawfare that was being waged against the president, are we changing the tide here finally?
Well, since he's currently in office, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to charge him. I mean, the 2 investigations that were by federal investigations, they dropped because he got elected president. This is a big victory. It doesn't clear him completely because the judges in New York did find him liable for fraud. So that's going to be challenged in New York's highest court. This was in what's called a mid-level appellate court in Manhattan. It's going to go up to Albany. And there, I think he will ultimately be cleared because the case against him was just weak from the start. It was one of these cases where he was basically put through this ringer because of basically what a lot of people do in terms of real estate valuation. So there was nothing interesting or unique in terms of how he handled his business. But, he was Donald Trump and he was going to pay a large fine. And now the mid-level appellate court said that fine was unconstitutional, which it was.
Letitia James says that she's going to be appealing the penalty decision. I don't think there's any shock to anyone there that this is where she's going to go with that. Deneen, how do you think that's going to go, her appeal on this, what they're calling a witch hunt on President Trump?
Yeah, she needs to buy a clue. First of all, she needs to lawyer up because now that pendulum has swung back in her direction. And don't forget, she campaigned on wanting to get President Trump in any way, shape, or form. That smirk is no longer on her face because the spotlight is now on her.
I think you're right. Ameer, what are your thoughts legally? I mean, does this appeal, does she have a shot here legally? What do you think she's looking at here?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to get thrown. It should get thrown out if the judges do the honest thing, if they do the right thing. The real loser in all of this is the legal system, the justice system in New York, and it's shameful. There were 5 judges who decided this case. One said this is a complete witch hunt. There was no basis to bring it. It was just brought for political gain. 2 of them said we think the whole judgment on fraud should be tossed out. It's just so contaminated, this entire case. But they were too weak. They had no spine. And they said, you know what, we're not going to ultimately fine that way. We're just going to say that we think we should throw out the fine, that it's excessive under the Constitution. It's unconstitutionally high. So those two judges were a pure example of the worst that the bench has. When you have somebody who knows the right thing to do, but still won't do it because of political reasons, forces this ridiculous case to go forward to the Court of Appeals, forces Donald Trump to have to expend more energy and the taxpayers to force more energy and resources to foot the bill for this. This should never have happened in the first place. But hopefully the Court of Appeals will do the right thing. They won't be beholden to politics. They'll follow the law, and they'll toss this case and put it in the garbage heap where it belongs.
All right, we have run out of time, but Dr. Tom, don't worry, you're going to be with us all day, so we'll be coming back to you shortly. But Ameer and Vinoo, thank you both so much for joining us today. We appreciate your expertise. And Deneen and Tom, thank you too. But as I said, stick around.